All right, so let's just talk about the G chord for a minute, because we're all G's, right? We play the guitar with G's. We're guitar players, so we gotta know how to play G. And first things first, you know, there's this bad boy. All right, there's that bad boy. We love him. And you know, I'm curious if you got, you know, a few others like this in your pocket. Like if you got this guy. That guy's great. Or even this guy. That guy's pretty dandy. Right, he's groovy. Okay. It's like mic'd up, everything's intense. So we need our G. We need our G chord. It's the spot. Okay? So now we got to understand, right, that the bottom of that chord, the G and the B, or the root and the third, and we could say the fifth, the open D, that is a G chord. Just that there, that's a G major triad, right? So, awesome. So that means everything above that, all the three strings above it, allow us some permutation, right? So let's look at some handy ones that aren't too much of a stretch, right? We got this G chord, and we can just drop that top G down to F sharp. We get an F major 7. It's a lovely sound. And you can kind of bring out more of a majory feel if you bring your pinky to this D note, right, which is the fifth of G, but it creates a major third with the major 7. D and F sharp is a major 7, right? That's a nice something on top of that G chord, right? Lovely, right? We can continue with this logic and drop the F sharp down to F. G dominant 7, or G7 chord. Keeping the D there, I like the, right, that fifth. Of course, it can be the open B string. Depends the flavor you want on your G7 chord. Do you want that? Sometimes you do. It's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to soften that tritone from B to F, you can bring in the D to the F on top of the chord. Some G dominant 7. Now, of course, we can lift our index finger, bring in the open E, and we get a G6. Not my favorite chord, you know, I think it's a little too open-y, you know, all these open strings. It gets a bit fuzzy, but it's there, and you can definitely use it to good effect. That open E on top. And if you're just getting acquainted with these ideas, you might just want to practice descending those notes on top of the chord and ascending. Sort of vibe, right? And identify what you're changing in the chord, right? We've got the root on top, the major 7, the dominant 7, the 6. You can even go for something like this. Right? You can add the 9 way up there. Right? Flat 9? Only in very rare cases, special cases. So this idea of sort of one string in addition to the G underneath, well, we want to do that same thing with the B string. And you know, if our pinky's on the D there, that's the fifth. You can drop it down to the sharp 11 or the sharp 4, down to the perfect 4, down to the open B. Some handy extra spice to add to your G chord, right? And of course this brings us to the G string. And here, you notice we can bring in the B flat, and all of a sudden we have a minor third in play. If you clash that with the open B, it's a cool bluesy sound. That sort of sound, right? playing with that. Dropping the B flat down to A. The G with a 9 in it again. And then the flat 9, you're probably not going to use this in most situations, but it's there. Passing tone into the... So, something that's really helpful to do is to get acquainted with ascending a G major scale or a G mixolydian scale or some sort of G scale on top of the... Right, so there I ascended G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And that can give you a little, self-accompaniment if you're rocking, say, from G to C, to have in your fingers is nice to have. You got a little melody maker on top. All right. So once again, I'm practicing putting a G major scale or G mixolydian scale, F natural, instead of F sharp, on top of the chord, and ascending and descending, and all the while, my ring finger's down here keeping that low end alive, right? And now all of those notes we went through are potential additions to the G chord. For instance, we could do something like this. How about something like this? How about something like this? But this sort of sound, it's a D triad on top of the G. Alright? I could... Yeah, I'm not going to get my major third right now. How about... Now, I do like that bluey, that bluesy, and that's fun to add into that scale. Right, all of these extra extensions to our typical G cowboy chord. And they're great sources of melody. I mean, you'll find melodies in them. So once again, all you cowboy chord players, I highly suggest you practice keeping that G and B down while you orient your pinky and index fingers to dancing on top of it. And another important note, notice I'm fingering this with the ring and middle finger. That allows for certain things. If I finger it with the middle and index, well, it also allows for certain things. You can get into territory like this. Right, getting these sort of 6 chords, 6/9 chords, maybe add the major 7 on top, the 9 again on top. Still grokking that G on the bottom and that third, which I am inclined to leave out as chords get more intricate and complicated, just because it's a bit muddy, but not terribly muddy. But sometimes you have to leave it out for certain fingerings. Like anyway, so think about the way you're grabbing your G chord and what possibilities that opens or closes, right? For instance, ring finger on the bottom, got that, and middle finger on the bottom, I can reach for those higher guys. Okay, and of course with the middle here, it's a little more transposable, right? I can do that here, or here, right? So, just things to consider. We'll leave it at that for now on the old G chord, shape, land, place of sound that exists here.